welcome to Red Cell Review. Today, we are here with David Reed Watson from the band Alchemy Fire. Welcome, David Reed Watson.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, glad you joined the show. I've been listening to your album. It reminds me a little bit of Angra. Are you a fan of Angra, or do you know the band Angra?
No, I've never heard of them. I'm gonna have to
Really?
check this out. This is the first.
Really?
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
they're from Brazil, and I hear a lot of Angra in your music, even in your vocals. They have not the vocals they have now, but the vocals before that. I don't know. Do you know Fabio Leone from the band Rhapsody?
No, I'm not familiar.
Oh my God!
No, I bet you my bass player would, because he's from Brazil. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then they definitely know who Angra is. So that's why. That's probably why he has such influence from Angra. But that'd be interesting to know if he's a fan of Angra. But yeah,
I will ask him. I will ask him.
Definitely check it out, because I think you're going to hear some similarities.
I'm going to be taking notes as we talk. This is it
Angra?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, your band reminds me a lot of that band, and you got a lot of really kick-ass songs on here. A lot of mostly in the power metal type vein or whatever. And I see a lot of the influences from the band. What are your actual influences? Like, what got you into wanting to be a vocalist?
Well, I've been singing my whole life. I come from a family of singers, so most of them sing in church and I was actually in theater first before I was in rock and roll. I kind of followed my dad in that. My dad was a musician. He put out an album on Philips Records back in the early '60s. He had a band called the Tikis, and they did. He's a banjo player, and they did stuff like, "Well, the rock on line is a mighty good road. Well, the rock on line is a road to ride." Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of bluegrassy thing. But he was mainly a thespian. He was heavily into theater, and he still is to this day. Even in his 80s, he still does it. So I started out doing theater and doing musicals, and I'm kind of a late bloomer in the rock and roll thing, because I went in the Marines after high school.
Okay.
And and I was in the Marines for about 5 years. And when I got out, like I said, I've always sung. So some of my influences when I was younger, I loved one of the albums I had was Jesus Christ Superstar, and with Ian Gillan singing as Jesus, and I just fell in love with those screams.
Oh my God! I'm glad you weren't on my last show. I just did.
Why?
We just reviewed Born Again from Black Sabbath.
Oh, okay. You know what? Not a great album, personally, but
it is not a great album.
I'm a big Ian Gillan fan from the early days. The Deep Purple days.
You would hate me. I do not like Ian Gillan.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I'm sorry.
Bowie. No,
I love Bowie.
Okay.
I love Bowie.
Yeah,
but it's okay. My other co-hosts would be on your side. They don't tell me how stupid I am and what an idiot I am for not liking Ian Gillan, but it's an acquired taste.
Rob Halford was one I like. I like a lot of the singers that sing in the lower register and then scream.
I do too. Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. I've never been into the vocalists that sing at a higher register. I mean, Dio is probably an exception to the rule, but I was never into the, sorry to my peers, my friends of the 80s hair band stuff. I was never really into that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my bag.
Yeah, mine neither. I couldn't stand like the bands like Poison and God, I don't even like Bon Jovi.
Yeah, quick story. My roommate in the Marines, his name was Vino, Frank Redding, and he went to high school with John.
Okay.
And he graduated with John.
Really?
Never got to meet him or anything like that, but I was always hoping that maybe I could meet him and just rub elbows. And I don't know him personally, you know. Vino said he was a great guy. I remember when we were in Okinawa in 1984. I was stationed over there, and John sent Vino a VHS tape of Little Runaway.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so we got to see the reel before it went out on MTV.
Yeah,
it was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
You know, I think that kind of, you know, I always, like I said, I always sang, but you know, I kind of followed family tradition and you know, did the Marine Corps. I was going to make a career of it, but I got hit by a car and got a medical discharge. So,
oh wow,
it was kind of a blessing in disguise because as soon as I got out, I moved to Cape Cod with my buddy Steve, and I ran into a guy named Donnie Rainwater, and this guy Donnie Rainwater was a guitar tech for who was he a guitar tech for? It was either Johnny Winter or Edgar Winter. I'm not exactly sure which one, but he heard me singing on the porch. I had my guitar and I was just playing a song on the porch, and he handed me a cassette. He goes, I want you to listen to this. You sound like this guy. And it was the first Queensryche album.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. Whatever. And anyway, after that, he hooked me up with this other guy. There's a band called Philosopher on Cape Cod, and they took me in. And then from there, I just went boom, 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 you know, and kind of progressed. And I just never really stopped from there.
Oh, that's cool. Well, we're in Cape Cod. We're in Cape Cod because I actually go there almost every year.
Do you really?
Yeah,
so the first place I lived was in Barnstable. I worked at the Piccadilly Deli. I was a line cook in Piccadilly Deli. And I went to Cape Cod Community College, and I still have a lot of friends down there. I lived like everybody on Cape Cod. I lived in Yarmouth. I lived in Brewster. I lived in Orleans, and you know.
Oh, okay.
I bounced around on the Cape a bit.
Yeah. It's very nice up there. We go up there. My son's birthday is in July, so we go up there for his birthday, and he loves going to the beach and everything. So it's a very nice area up there.
So where are you?
I'm in Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So it's not too far. It's about like 2.5 hours from me, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we got beaches here, but you know what? Long Island's got so congested here. We just like to get out of here once in a while.
I remember, you know, when I lived on the Cape, we got an influx of New Yorkers one year because all the needles they found up on the shore in Long Island.
Oh yeah.
So that was mid to late 80s, I think, maybe even early 90s.
Yeah, I think it's probably 90s. I think I remember something about that. Yeah.
Right.
They weren't my needles.
No, I would never ever think that.
No, I never touched drugs.
Yeah.
So how did this band Alchemy Fire get started? Because you guys are pretty much spread out between the US and UK. So how did it get started?
It got started with Paul Wright. Paul Wright is the main songwriter. You know, he came up with all the guitar riffs and whatnot, and he had a long story short. He met this guy at a conference kind of thing, and the guy was like, "I have a studio in Florida if you ever want to come and record." And so Paul got in touch with him. And he's like, "Okay, I got these songs. I just need a drummer and a bass player, and kind of make these songs quick. Just do a demo." Anyway, the drummer that he picked was Tom Schofield. The studio guy picked Tom Schofield, and then they had a studio bass player do all the initial bass tracks. And so they did this around the Fort Myers area of Florida in 2018, I think it was.
Okay.
And so they laid all this stuff down, and that was pretty much it. Tom started talking to him, and let me say this prior to Tom was getting ready to go in for shoulder surgery,
Mm.
but he figured, he goes, you know what? I'll give this a final run before I have to go and get my, I think his shoulder scraped. I'm not positive about that.
Mm.
Anyway, he wasn't doing good.
All right.
But the drum tracks that you hear are the ones he laid down.
Oh, wow.
And he's a monster.
Yeah.
He's, I mean, he was with Soil for years, and and his other band Oppressor, so he's never lost his chops. So anyway, that's how it started.
Yeah. Right.
And everybody was found on Bandmix, believe it or not. I don't think I've ever really used Bandmix.
Mm-hmm.
But Paul found everybody on Bandmix. And,
what is Bandmix? I don't think I've ever heard of
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What is Bandmix? That's a big question. It's one of those millions of sites that I put my material on, and it's like, okay, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's blah 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 blah.
Is it similar to Fiverr?
I don't even know. You would have to go look at it.
Yeah,
I know what Fiverr is. It's not like a hire me as a musician kind of thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's kind of like, here's some material, I'm looking for a band.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess it's somewhat successful for this band because everybody was found on Bandmix. So when Paul approached me, they were looking for a singer. They weren't sure who they were going to get. They had tried out several singers, and they liked me. Paul contacted me. He called me from England. He goes, "Hey, I got your phone number." It was on Bandmix. I go, Bandmix? What? Yeah, What is Bandmix? So
one of those late nights with drinking Bud Light, and you just uploaded
something. I know everyone's gonna think I'm an alcoholic or just something else. I know a lot of people are protesting this beer right now, but no, I'm not. I'm not a big drinker. This is just my one and done. After
let's see the rest. Let's see the rest of the room back there. There's probably a pile of us.
The case.
Yeah,
the case sitting right by me. So after that, Paul contacted me.
Okay.
And he's like, I've got this material. I want you to listen to it. And I did. I go, yeah, this is really good stuff. What do you want? And so I wrote Alchemy, the first song.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the lyrics for it. And he goes, right, this is great. I want to meet you. And I was like, well, I'm in Las Vegas. He goes, okay, I'll fly there.
Oh, wow.
And he flew here. He rented a hotel room in Circus, and we just got along. And then after that, he said, all right, we clicked. This is great. What are you doing? I go, really? Not a whole lot. I had left my metal band Kill Ritual a few months prior, so I wasn't doing anything. So he invited me to England. He said, come stay at my house. You can write there, So I went over to England in June or July of 2019. I stayed there till November, December of 2019, and just wrote lyrics, recorded lyrics, and that was pretty much it. And then when I got back, the pandemic hit, and it kind of put everything on hold for a little bit.
Right.
The positive side of the pandemic, if there is one, is we got a great guy to mix the album, Ulrich Wild, and we got a great guy to master the album. Because Alex, I'm gonna butcher his name. I do it every time. It's Saradakis, I believe is what his name is.
Yeah,
he's a New York guy.
Yeah. It's a Greek.
Had the pandemic not have been happening, we probably wouldn't have gotten these guys.
Right.
Because they're very much in demand. So so we got them, and mixed and mastered the whole thing, and then then we got picked up by Qumran, and that's it. That's it.
Wow. Wow, it's very cool. It's like, yeah, because they've produced a lot of other like pretty well-known bands. Wishbone Ash they done, but we also got Pantera and Static X and White Zombie. So you got a good team of people working on the album, and it sounds good. It sounds like you got some professional people working on it. So
yeah, we were. I mean, I think the next album is going to be even better because there were so many variables to this album that we were, how is this going to work? Tom's drums, he was, the guitar, Paul had to go back to Florida and redo because of a mixing issue with it. He was pretty pissed off about that. But so we kind of did it all backwards. Bass tracks, we had a different studio musician over in actually Tim, who is on the album. It's not Felipe. It's on this album, but he will be on the next album. We picked up Felipe and Neil after the fact. So we have these studio guys doing the album with us. But it was all done backwards, completely backwards. It was, Tom and his double bass. They didn't know what kind of they didn't know what kind of singer they were going to get. They weren't sure. He didn't know if he was going to get a singer like his in Soil or from someone like Presser.
Right.
And here comes me, a singer, and I'm actually surprised that they took me in because I think I'm grateful that they took me in because it's a great band.
Yeah.
But I know now that, Tom said this to me specifically. He's like, now that I know who you are and how you sing, and he goes, I'm going to tailor my drums around you next time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Then the next album too, I would imagine too, the music will fit you. Well, not that this album doesn't fit you at all. This album fits you perfectly. I couldn't imagine somebody else singing this album, but I think maybe the songs will be written a little bit more, knowing now that you're the actual vocalist in the band and everything. And the songs would be a little bit more toward your style and stuff like that. You know what I'm trying to say? Well, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. It was
because you didn't originally do it in the beginning, so
right. Yeah, I had to. I don't know if it was. I don't want to say it was tough. It was. I was in probably the most serene and perfect environment to do this record. Because I lived in England, and I literally lived right near Gotham, is what they call it, but Gotham.
Okay.
This little village with a pub I had a bicycle out there. I felt like I was Robert Plant, I was living this kind of surreal, kind of living in a hobbit hole kind of environment. And it was just so magical over there. I would literally sit at a table with this tree behind me and just do these, and just write lyrics.
Wow.
The whole time. So I can't think of a better environment.
Yeah.
Had I been in Las Vegas and writing these lyrics, it probably would have been pretty frantic.
Right.
But yeah, the writing process will be probably a little bit easier next time. I won't be. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm really weird. I don't really consider myself a lyricist. Although I am a lyricist, but I kind of tap into something. I have to listen to the music.
Right.
And the music kind of talks to me. It says, "Hey, this is what I'm about." And so then it just flows out. And who knows what it would have ended up if we would have recorded it the right way. Maybe it would have been horrible.
Now, would you rather write your lyrics, or would you rather have somebody else write your lyrics?
I love writing lyrics.
You do? Okay.
To me, it's like therapy. You know, I'm not really the lyricist that writes about, chicks and drinking and all that stuff. It's boring to me.
Right.
I like writing about real world stuff. I like writing about real personal situations,
Yeah.
So yeah, I like having that. I mean, and fortunately with these guys, I get that because, Tom will be like, "Hey, I do drums. I don't, that's your job." And I like that they've given me that job. It's like, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
I've been in bands before where, somebody else is writing lyrics, and I don't know, I come across as probably, like I've got LSD because I don't, lead singer's disease, as you know. I'm just like, I'm just, I like, and you're a vocalist as well, right?
No, I'm a drummer. I don't.
Oh, you're a drummer.
Yeah, I'm not singing.
You're a drummer. So but that, the singer, it's like, if he's writing the lyrics, he can probably portray it a lot better.
Yeah. Yep.
He can get the point across a lot better. And
yeah, definitely.
It's way more powerful. So.
Yeah, because they're coming from you. So it's not like, somebody else is going to write it. They're thinking about themselves, and then you kind of got to portray what they're kind of thinking, but it doesn't work out that way. I totally get it, because there's stuff that I did write for my other band, because kind of like what your band started out, we did not have a singer. We just wrote songs, and we figured we'll find somebody to sing these after, we're done or whatever. Right. And that took 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I say wow, but it took us 4 years too, right?
Really? Wow. Yeah.
I think 2018 we started it.
Wow. Yeah, I started with the other band. It was right before my son was born, 2015, and then trying to find. We had singers, people come and go, and then I had to find somebody on Fiverr to finally find somebody. But but that that was fun. But now, actually, the new band I have, it only took us 3 months to write. Actually, one album, and then we did another album right after it. It took us maybe another 2 months to do 2 albums.
Okay.
So we flew through those. But now that we have the singer, my other band, and we kind of know what his vocals are going to sound like, we'll kind of adjust a little bit more to what his voice sounds like. It's like what you guys probably will do. Now you know who the band is going to be and everything. Do you guys have any shows? You plan on doing any shows or anything?
Yeah, we do plan on. Lothar Keller is our guy, and with Qumran Records, and he there's some other bands, like Diggith is one of the bands on the label, and Carbellion's another band on the label, and so I think they want to send us out with them. So cool. It would be like a US thing first, and then doing festivals over in Europe afterwards.
Yeah, because I know Diggith is from where the hell is Diggith from? Australia?
Well, I just saw their itinerary. I'm not exactly sure where they're from, but they started touring the Netherlands coming up.
Okay.
Soon.
Yeah, actually, that's I think where they are from. I just had him on the show about a few weeks ago. I think that's where.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. They're a very cool band. If you listen to them, you've heard them.
I've heard them. Yeah, I haven't met them yet. I'm looking forward to meeting all of them. Eventually, my kind of label mates. Yeah,
that's the thing. We were going to be on how do you pronounce that? Qumran. That was one of the first labels we were thinking about going on, but my band right now is not a touring band. We don't play shows too much, so we couldn't go through with the record.
Band, but. Yeah, I feel better on the road.
Yeah.
Once I got a taste for it and got a taste of, I'm probably contrary to everybody else, but I enjoy being on a tour bus.
Well, you have the least to worry about. You only got a microphone.
I'm like, hey, I also carry drums.
All right, fine. Do you play any other instruments?
I do. I play guitar.
Oh, you do? All right.
Yeah, I've been playing guitar for, oh geez, probably 30 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
You know, yeah, I'm a picker. You know,
Mm.
and it's a great tool to use for writing songs as well.
Yeah. Now, do you think you'll be able to contribute any ideas for the next album on the guitar or anything, or is that somebody else's job?
No, that's Paul.
Mm.
I hear what he does, and I want to throw my guitar away.
Yeah,
I'm pretty much an acoustic player.
Okay.
You know, I enjoy that. You know, if we do a ballad or something like that, you know, I'll break out the guitar. I've done that before on bands, but I prefer standing behind a microphone stand. I enjoy that interaction with the crowd. I'm the guy that jumps off of stage and runs around the audience. I'm more comfortable like that. You know?
Yeah, that's cool. When was the last time you did actually play a show?
Well, I have a cover band.
Oh, you do? All right.
Here in Minnesota. Yeah, they're called High Octane, and they are great musicians in their own right. You know, we actually have a show this weekend.
Oh.
So we do, you know, 2 or 3 sets depending on the night, depending on the venue, and I'm singing for about 3 hours.
Oh, wow. And
we'll do anything Sabbath to the Cult to, you know, Dio, even lighter stuff like In Excess and whatnot.
Do you have a favorite song that you like to cover?
Is there a song I like to cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we do Heaven and Hell from Sabbath. And I just love doing it. I love doing it because it's such a powerful tune, and it's kind of one of the songs that, you know, when I saw Dio in 1980, I saw him at the Black and Blue tour at the New Haven Coliseum in Connecticut, and as soon as I saw Dio, I mean, yeah, I went in the Marines a year later, but that was always eating in the back of my head, going, "This is what I want to do." It was, you know, I saw him capture an audience and just hold them, and I was like, yeah. So yeah, doing that is a lot of fun. Love doing the Cult stuff. I like singing it. Pretty much anything except for the 80s hair band stuff. I'll leave that to someone else.
What if they really want you to do like Poison? Or I'm trying to think what's some of the crappy 80s hair bands.
You know, I opened up for Bret Michaels before.
Oh, did you? I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Does he have hair? Is he really bald?
He's really bald, and
really
it's because of a disease he has.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. He came to our dressing room, nice guy. And thanked us for coming and blah blah blah. Another person that told me they didn't like. I opened up for Don Dokken.
Oh, really? I don't like him.
And I sat backstage with him and my buddy Johnny Rude. Johnny ended up staying longer that night, but I think I was back there for 3 or 4 hours. And Don just told stories. He wouldn't stop, you know. It was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
So that you know, those are 2 people I didn't think that I would get along with that were really great people. Plus I worked on the Monsters of Rock cruise. So
really? Okay.
Yeah, I got to rub elbows with all these guys, and I you know, one of my good friends is Pat Fontaine, the bass player from XYZ, and it's weird because there's this metal singer guy and he's friends with all these hair band guys, and we're all the same. We're musicians, you know. But
that's it. That's all that matters. If they're nice people, that's all that matters.
They are for you know, majority of them are really great people. They're an unnamed few that I never want to see again in my life. But
and please tell.
Exactly, unnamed few.
Now, some of the people that you have met, have you got like, have they given you any advice of like, things to do, what not to do, what to watch out for, anything?
Yeah, a lot of them. Terry, the singer from XYZ, who also sang for Great White, he turned me on to throat coat tea. He's like, I buy this by the case, so now I buy it by the case. Throat lozenges, stuff like, there's one called Jello Revoice over in Europe, and my old drummer from Kill Ritual ended up joining Dragon Force.
Oh, really?
And the singer for Dragon Force said, yeah, this stuff, Jello Revoice, it comes in a tube. He goes, this is by far the best. You can't get it in the United States. You have to get it over there. I had a friend when I lived. It sounds like I'm dropping names, but these were actual people that would come over to my house. Jizzy Pearl from Love Hate.
Yeah.
I was like, Jizzy, how do you sing these songs? And he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about. I mean, I always sang from the diaphragm because I've come from a family of singers, but he taught me stuff that he learned from Ronnie James Dio and these people, and it helped a lot. I've always been a cyclist, so cardio is king.
Yeah.
Cardio is very important. So yeah, there are routines I picked up from a lot of different people, and I'm always looking for the next best thing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you don't drink.
No.
One of the there's several great singers out there that don't drink at all. They're like, no, it'll ruin my pipes, and I get that.
Yeah.
So for the most part, before a gig or whatever, I don't touch anything. I'll have throat coat tea with some honey and some not hot water, but fairly hot water, and kind of nurse it throughout the whole show.
Yeah. I know somebody I used to know that used to sing. She used to say she never drank milk because milk would really mess up her vocals.
Milk is horrible. Cheese is horrible. Milk is horrible. Any dairy product is horrible. I mean, I do eggs, not on gig day. We sound like singers sound like they're pretentious, but our instrument happens to be part of our body. So, it's we have to be, like when I'm on tour, whatever country I'm in, whatever state I'm in, I usually hop off the bus and I go roaming.
Right.
I just go away. And some of the guys don't like it. They're like, we should hang out, but we end up going to a pub every time, end up talking way too much. And I'm like, guys, I'll see you for sound check. And, and it also allows me an opportunity to go check out the city we're in,
Right. Yeah.
Or otherwise I probably wouldn't. I'd be stuck in a pub somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially if you're going somewhere you haven't been before. So it's always good to see the scenery and stuff like that.
It is. And you run into all kinds of people you don't know. I mean, they know, they smell you when you're an American.
I'm sure they do. Yeah. So what happened? Why did you leave Kill Ritual?
Right. Oh my God. Yeah.
Is that a bad story?
Anyway, what's that?
I said, why did you leave Kill Ritual? Is that a bad blood or something?
Okay. You broke up. Maybe.
Sorry. I was wondering why. I didn't think that was that funny of a question.
It is funny. Why did I leave Kill Ritual? As time goes by, that question becomes a little bit blurred. I would say, Steven and I wrote some really great songs. And we got to tour with some really cool people. In the mix of writing the last album that I was going to do with them, I was going through a bad breakup, and I was going through just some life stuff, and I probably jumped the gun in quitting. I was angry, and I don't know if Steven has ever forgiven me. It was one of my many mistakes in life. The important part of that is that I was open to do this with Paul. So maybe universe, source, whatever you want to call it, had to end that in order for Alchemy Fire to happen. I don't want to get into details because there were a lot of mistakes on my end. And Steven and I were really good friends, and now we're not.
But hey, you know what? You're in Alchemy Fire now, so
I am, and I hope someday that Steven and I can patch up our differences.
I hope so. Maybe if he sees this, maybe he'll give you a call.
Maybe. like I said, he's a great guy. We're all complicated people, and whatever's going on in our life, it's always going to affect the music.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it was, yeah. But I love what I did with Kill Ritual. I love the 2 albums I did, and I've got a lot of people that like the music, a lot of fans overseas that still contact me, so that's good. All
right, cool. Well, since you've been all over the place, like, where's your most favorite place that you've been to so far?
So that's probably an easy one. My friend Daniel Frey, he owns Souls of Rock. And I haven't talked to Daniel in a long time. I haven't talked to him. Paul and I went to go visit him at a festival in Germany in 2019. But I was over there in 2016, 2017, something like that. And, Kill Ritual just got off tour with Raven and Hyrax. And Danny was like, so are you going back to the United States? What's your deal? I could use some help. I go, what do you need? Because he sets up display booths at festivals, and he goes, I've got a couple festivals I'm doing, and I could really use your help. I go, okay. So one of them was called Rock the Ring in Switzerland, and then the other one was down south in I think it was on the border of Italy, and I think it was still in Switzerland, but oh my God, I fell in love with Switzerland.
Really?
It's so picturesque. It's amazing how beautiful it was. I was like, I want to stay.
Yeah.
But I had to go back, and the people were nice.
Right.
Everything was just absolutely beautiful over there. I got to swim in the Rhine River.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
It runs through Germany and Switzerland. So I actually got to swim in it.
Wow.
And I mean, there are plenty of other great places. I mean, a lot of places in Germany are phenomenal, and but by far Switzerland is, yeah, everything looks like a postcard.
Yeah, that's cool. I had never been there. I've only been to out of the United States once, and I don't think I don't want to leave ever again. I was scared to death.
Where are you?
Only when we got off the plane. Where the hell did I go for my where the hell was that? Barbados?
Oh, Barbados. Yeah.
No, not Barbados. Barbudo. I'm trying to think what the hell's. Oh God, I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I
It
don't
was
know
a resort.
Barbados.
It was a resort. Oh my
Is
God.
it Mexico?
No, it's not Mexico. Barbudo. It's when I find it, it's so stupid because it's like everybody. Antigua. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Went
Yep.
there for my honeymoon.
All right. And you said you were scared?
I was scared. It's you know what? When you come from New York and things are updated, and then you get off the plane and you go somewhere where things are not updated and you don't know who you are, and they tell you to get in a van and we'll take you there.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
I could see that. I could see
Especially
that.
when there's no sign saying taxi, nothing like that, or this van's going this direction or this van's going that direction. No, just get in the van.
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think back because I the first time I left the United States, I was 18.
Wow.
And I was in Denmark. So
oh, wow.
I'm trying to think if I was it's an awkward feeling being out of the United States for sure.
Yeah.
When you're so used to these creature comforts.
Right.
But I embraced it after so many years. Is now it's like so much part of me. I feel landlocked when I'm in the United States too long.
Right. Yeah, when you go all the time, I'm sure you're used to it. But I haven't left the United States before, so it was just kind of a shock to me. And then my wife, this was when was this? 2014. So, but
okay.
they would stop you, and then they would wipe you down with these papers and stuff like that. Make sure you, I guess, got no drugs on you, whatever. And of course, my wife going and coming back both got stopped twice. The time,
yeah.
So it's just like one thing after the other.
yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It's weird being in another country because you have to, like when I lived in Okinawa I lived there for a year.
Wow.
So it was, going to the Philippines and going to Korea and all these different countries over there, and their customs are different. Their driving is different. Everything is different. You're not, you're just an American. You're just conform to their rules or get out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess eventually you just get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to go back again. So maybe one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was nice there.
It's a beautiful, you know what? We live in an absolutely beautiful world.
We do.
And when you get to leave this country for extended periods of time, you get to recognize different things about us as Americans. We're loud, we're arrogant,
yeah,
we think the world revolves around us.
Yeah.
And I think I write about some of that stuff.
I hope so. That's the stuff I like to hear because, like you said, you like to write more about, realistic things and things going on in the world today and stuff like that. But, and some, I'm into some of the bands that write about fantasy type stuff, but I'm more interested even because on my other band, we had to write music. I had to write the lyrics, and it was the first time I wrote lyrics before. And I'm like, what the hell do I write about? And just luckily there was so much stuff going on.
How'd that feel, writing lyrics?
Strange, because it's just you don't know what to write about,
Sorry, you're cutting out.
Oh, am I here now? Am I?
Oh, I totally lost whatever.
You totally lost me
after. Yeah, yeah. I just heard computer language.
No, but it was strange trying to write lyrics because I never wrote them before. So, but luckily the pandemic was just starting and things were going on. And there was so much things on the news, and I'm like, this is like perfect things to write about. It's give me so many ideas. So I was lucky I had something.
Yeah. So what did you write about?
The pandemic, like how people are uncertain, like what the COVID was going to do to everybody type thing. And how like the news, wasn't sure what was going on. That was one song, and then another song was kind of about like all the riots that started happening.
Yeah, I remember New York was really in the center of everything for a little bit.
Yeah.
With your governor and whatnot. And
Yeah.
that's tough. It's, I write about the division of our country and, our political differences. And I think we've probably forgotten the roots of our country is allowing people to think what they want to think.
Right.
Allowing differences. I mean, I think we've lost the art of debate in this country because none of us will sit down and be okay with somebody else believing something else.
Right. Yep.
And I was hoping, when the shutdown happened, I was hoping that I was waiting for this reset of everyone's consciousness. I didn't want it to go back to normal.
Yeah.
I wanted people to go, all right, I got to take a breather now. Then I started noticing people just wanting it to go back to the way it was. And I never thought the way it was really worked.
Yeah. 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 It seemed like towards the end of it, well, not like towards the beginning of it, it seemed like people were starting to be nicer to people and things were starting to turn a little bit. Then all of a sudden, shit hit the fan. Right. And then now we're still stuck in the same bullshit.
Well, you being from New York, you probably remember when 9/11 happened, and
yes, yeah.
I was in Florida at that time, and I had a friend that worked for the National Enquirer. I was a graphic designer for a lot of years, and he was a graphic designer over at the National Enquirer, and he called me up one day and he goes, I'm going to the hospital and I'm scared to death. I go, what's going on, Mike? He goes, one of the guys in our mailroom died. He opened up a package and it had the anthrax in it.
Right.
And I was like, that's horrible, and I guess after 9/11, like most people, remember when we all came together?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like a nation just that went like this.
Yeah.
And eventually it just started falling away again. And I was hoping that when COVID happened that we would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And make it stick this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's one thing to say, never forget, but what do you never want to forget about?
Yeah.
The bad guys, or how we came together as a nation and embraced each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Something to think about.
Yeah, deep.
It is deep. Thoughts. It is a very deep thought.
Well, it is.
Because it's true, because like you said, everybody seemed to be on one page, and then all of a sudden just goes to shit, and here we are.
I like to think in my fantasy world of writing lyrics that people will pay attention to what I write about.
Yeah.
They'll look at the lyrics and they'll go, oh, huh, I got that when I was with Kill Ritual. I had someone come up to me and say, this song that you wrote, it really had a major impact on me. And so much so that I've gotten my son into your music.
Wow.
And it makes me, feel good that I could make that kind of contribution to somebody's life. And it made me even hungrier to do it more. And, when I write lyrics, I'm talking to everybody. I'm not just talking to myself. I keep it as open and vague as I possibly can to let it impact everybody. I've always said this, and I'll say it probably until the day I die, because somebody asked me in an interview years ago, and I was like, okay, I really need to think about this. And it was like, they said, what do you hope when someone comes to a show? And I still feel the same way. I hope that I can make a light bulb go on above someone's head, and I'm hoping that they can walk out of a show asking themselves if they're doing everything that they can in their life to contribute to the world, instead of going to a mundane job and punching a clock. There are more important things out there, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that's kind of hard to do in this day and age where like there's so many bands out there?
There's a story. Have you ever heard the story of the starfish?
No, I don't think so.
There's an old man. There's an old man and a young boy, and they're walking down a beach. Let's just, because both of us have been to Cape Cod, let's just say we're in Chatham and we're walking by the lighthouse down on the beach. And the young boy, all these starfish keep washing up on the shore. So the young boy picks up a starfish and he whips it out in the ocean. And then he does it again, whips it out in the ocean. This old guy is like, he goes, "Kid, what are you doing?" And he goes, I'm saving the starfish." Picks him up, throws him out in the ocean. The guy goes, "You're wasting your time. There are way too many of them." And the kid picked up a starfish, whipped it out there. He goes, "I made an impact to that one. I made a difference to that one." And, yeah, we have a million bands, but who cares?
Yeah.
Are we going to look at that and say, I'm just a little fish in the ocean, or are we going to say I'm going to make an impact on every person I get? I think we're in a time in our music world that there's no money, So what do we do it for?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We're doing it to leave a legacy. We're doing it to share with other people. I think, the big ego thing of the 80s is pretty much gone.
Oh yeah.
It's, I might still have the hair, but I just, yeah, I guess I'm blessed in that territory, but I choose to focus on this aspect and what I can do in the world.
Yeah.
Because this is my vehicle. Other people have other vehicles, to help the world. Some people don't want to help the world, but that's their choice. That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm glad you look at it that way, because that's pretty much how it is. That's why I continue to want to do music, because it's something I want to do. I want to do it my whole entire life. I never got to the point that you've gotten to, but I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and that's all that matters.
Right. That is all that matters. I mean, even if I never, I'm always striving to get to a bigure and better level. Some of the people that I've followed their careers, it's like, what do I have to do to get in their shoes? And so it's always this kind of hustle to, be better yourself. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter whatever level anybody's on. That's the key. What you said, if you love it, who cares what anybody else thinks?
Yeah, exactly. There's a band I'm friends with. Actually, my bass player used to be from that band, and they got to a point where they're just kind of down about everything. It's like, why are we continuing to do this if we're not going to get here? Well, are you having fun doing what you're doing, or you just want to get to the next part? What the hell does it matter? Just continue having fun playing the music. And they end up breaking up.
Yeah. Have you ever stopped doing music?
Yeah, I did for about 6 years.
And what happened?
Why did I stop?
No. What happened to you?
What happened? I started this podcast because I missed playing music.
Exactly. That's the key. You missed it. It's a part of you.
It is. Yeah.
I was miserable. I was, any partner I had at the time was like, "Would you please go find a band? Because you're driving me up a tree."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in our soul, man.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
Used to disappoint me. I had I moved here into this house, my grandfather's house, And I set my drums up in the garage. It was a mess in here. It wasn't. This is a garage actually, and we redid it. And I just throw it in the corner and would just sit there. And then one day I'm just like, I just want to start practice, even if I'm just practicing to like songs that I like, just to do something and get back into it again. Because I missed it. It was something I did every single day since I was since I was probably like 12 years old. I would go home come home from school and practice drums every single day, and then to just give it up. I just gave it up because at the band I was in at the time, I was with them for like 13 years, and they were like a family. And then all of a sudden, towards the end, everybody's just getting weird, and then not getting along, and things were just going on. It just got me. It got me uninterested in playing with anybody anymore because we were a 5-piece band. So just being with so many people for that long and not getting along after that much time together kind of got me like, annoyed even playing with anybody. And it took me a long time to get to try to do a band ever again.
Yeah. Once you get, I get it. I've done that before where I'm done with this music world. Screw it, I have a drive, and my drive, my drive is my drive now, but in the initial thing, it was my sister, Darlene. She passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
In 2010. And she was like, basically in so many words, she said, "I'm dying. I'm not going to get to, live my life. How are you going to live your life? Are you going to continue just working and being a graphic designer, or are you going to, she said to me, she goes, you have a talent. When are you going to use it?" So yeah, when she passed away, I just said, okay, all right, I got the message. And so anytime that I feel like I'm not going to continue on, I have to remind myself of my sister's words.
Yeah.
And just keep moving forward at all costs,
Yeah. That's a shame. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, thank you. I've got a big family, I've got a big, beautiful family, and she was a major part of it. When we had her funeral in Connecticut, I don't remember the count. I could ask my brother-in-law, but I think it was, upwards around 1,000 people.
Oh wow!
She was a rock star in her own right. She was a chiropractor. She was a healer.
Oh, okay.
And a true healer. And she left a major impact on so many people, on our family. I think a lot of the drive in our family is passed on from her. We're like, oh, you know what? Darlene would want me to be doing this. And I'm sorry she's gone, but I'm grateful that she left me with a kick in the ass.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad she gave you that kick in the ass because you're really doing really good with the Alchemy Fire, and your vocals are awesome. So
thank you.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
On doing what you're doing. Before we go, what do you think of this AI stuff that's going on? In music.
Yeah. I remember when hip hop came along in the late 70s, Grandmaster Flash and stuff like that. And I remember going, this isn't music.
Yeah.
At the time, Beastie Boys came out. I thought they were a joke at first. But then I recognize that this is somebody's expression. Now AI is different, because it's a culmination of everybody's expression. That because AI just grabs from everywhere. You know, it has no soul. You know,
right.
I think just like when we lost the record companies in the late '80s, early '90s, now we're hit with another obstacle. It's like, okay, we've got AI that's going to be writing songs, but the difference between AI and human beings are we have feelings, we have emotions.
Right.
AI at this point can't have a one-on-one with someone. Can't have a real impact. I don't believe. I could be wrong. I mean, I've heard of people putting in, you know, song ideas into, you know, Chat GPT and coming out with something. I mean, I've done it with, you know, with my resume. I was like, hey, let's see what this thing can do. And it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant. So if we can use it as a tool to add to our palette, I think it might actually, I mean, we have no choice. We have to embrace it.
Yeah, it's
here.
It's already here. So
yeah. So we can hate it all we want, or we can embrace it and bring it into our own writing process, if so be. I mean, I mean, we kind of do in a way. I mean, I use Rhyme Zone sometimes when I'm, you know, I write something out and I go, yeah, but this word, I can't use this word. What can I use? You know?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm doing it in a way anyway.
True. Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to find sources outside of myself. Even though I have the idea in here, those help. Maybe Chat GPT will help with that. Maybe I'll be like, I really want to get this point across, and I really want it to, you know, be heartfelt, and I'll put all the emotion I can into it. But maybe Chat GPT rearranges the words to make it even more beautiful. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe it'll just become another Nickelback.
Please no. Oh god. Yeah, but we're interested to see where this whole AI thing goes. We actually, my band's been using the AI, like you know, pictures and stuff like that. For all our singles, we just the app that I use on my phone, I can just do AI pictures on there, and sometimes you get some really cool, you know, drawings or whatever. So in that aspect, I like that.
Yeah, it's going to be another art form. You know, there still are ideas.
Yeah.
You know, we're just using a different palette. I mean, I was like I said, I was a graphic designer for so many years, you know, and my tools were Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, you know, PageMaker, and all these other things. Anytime I could get some help from those tools to get across what I wanted to, they were very helpful. And now maybe these tools are more accessible to us to get our ideas across that we want to, and quicker even, which might be better because it'll allow us to, you know, move on to other things.
Yeah. Some things to think about because it's already here.
Yeah. All right. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's a scary, scary world we're heading into.
It can be, or it can be a beautiful world.
It can be, and hopefully it ends up being a beautiful one. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I choose to believe it's a beautiful world.
Yeah, I hope so. Where can people go to hear Alchemy Fire? Is there a website, Facebook?
alchemyfireofficial.com.
Okay.
You can go there and you can get all the links to all of our social media right there. We're on Facebook. We actually have one of our friends runs our fan page, and we don't call it a fan page. It's called the Alchemy Fire Family.
Oh.
And people are joining it left and right. People are, you know, have you seen this yet?
No, I have not.
I'm glad that we didn't get to talk last week, honestly, because I didn't have this yet. I've been receiving copies of it. Well, not copies. I've been receiving pictures of it from people saying, I got the album. I'm excited, and you know, I mean, check this out. It's
very cool.
Actual.
Oh, a nice color there. What is that? Purplish, bluish?
That is purple.
Wow.
Along with the flames of
yeah, it goes good with the color. Yeah.
Yeah. And people are buying this left and right.
Wow.
Some people are buying it just for a collector's thing, whatever. It's, it's weighty, 160 grams.
Oh, good.
And I couldn't be more happy. I think we've sold hundreds.
Really?
From what I've heard so far, and maybe it'll be thousands eventually. Maybe it'll be tens of thousands eventually.
So,
it'd be great.
It's good. People are still buying records. I mean, there was a thing yesterday, CD Baby. They have a thing where they actually make CDs, but now they're getting rid of all the CD production.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. There's a great article with one of your homeboys, from Twisted Sister. I'm blanking on his name. D. Snyder.
D. Snyder. Yeah.
D wrote a great article, and you can probably look it up. He wrote an article about CDs and said that we were duped. We were sold on CDs from the record label because the record label said we can make these cheaper, so therefore we can make more money for you guys. And D said that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
The record companies made more money. They didn't.
Right.
And then we lost the quality. I had this conversation with Michael Lardy from Great White once, and he goes, "You don't understand. When you compress music, you're taking the soul out of it."
Yeah.
So I'm glad that this stuff is back. I'm glad that we have records, because now we can go back to what it was when I was a kid and got my first Van Halen record, and I just stare at it.
Yeah.
I'd stare at the credits, and lyrics now you can actually read because they're big enough.
Right. Yeah. That's good you put them in there. Some bands don't put the lyrics in there. It pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah. I choose to, because I want people.
Yeah.
I want people to read.
You have meaningful lyrics. You want people to read them. Do you actually have a record player?
Yeah. I do.
You do? Okay.
I do. We were listening to it the other night, and I felt great. I felt so accomplished because my dad, like I mentioned before, he put out a record in 1962 or 60 or 61, somewhere around there. I put out plenty of CDs, but I never put out a record.
Wow. So
this is my first record.
Yeah.
And now I can put it up on the wall with my dad's record,
Yeah, that's cool. I'm hoping to do a record for my band too. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
People start buying it.
Yeah.
Because it's cool, there is a website. It's called Kunaki. You can get stuff printed on there very cheap and easily. But they do make records. So I did have my other band's record made on that website. It sounds like total garbage, but it looks cool. That's the only thing that matters. It just looks cool because it's got the big artwork, and it's it is what it is.
Yeah, it comes down to the mastering, because you're mastering for.
Yeah, you got to master it separately. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's two totally different things.
So that's important to do, and eventually it'll, if records pick up even more like it used to be, studios will be like, all right, I can see that a lot of digital people are going to be like, we need to make analog come back. Maybe it'll go through digital. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know if we'll ever go back to just being total analog, because a lot of that system is gone.
Right.
We'd have to rebuild it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think everybody's so accustomed to having their music's right on their phone. It's kind of hard for especially the younger people to go back to that. But
it will. But this is novelty right now, and we're I hope everybody can jump on board with it, because I think it's important. I think it's important for people to sit around in community and listen to records together. I mean, we used to do it when we were kids.
Yeah. Yep.
And it builds community. It's just, I would love to see that happen again.
Hopefully it will.
You know, maybe I'm just old and, you know, I'm that old guy. Yeah, you kids.
That's all
I
right.
have no idea what it was like when we were kids.
Yeah. I'm the same way. So, but everybody go out there and go buy that Alchemy Fire record. You'll enjoy it a lot. And buy the record. Don't buy the CD. Well, go ahead and buy the CD if you don't have a record player.
Yeah. You can. I mean, we do. You know, we do have the CD. The one thing that we're probably going to do a reprint. I'm hoping, because one thing we didn't do with the record is we didn't put our faces on it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. So, yeah. Right. So, Qumran Records. They can find it at QumranRecords.com and AlchemyFireOfficial.com and all the links that you want. We have somebody that runs our Twitter, Facebook, the Facebook family. We even have somebody that runs our TikTok.
Oh, I never thought I need people to run my stuff too. Jeez.
Oh, we pay people.
Well, I can't do that. I'm on a budget
here. No, we don't pay anybody. We sucker people into it.
Yeah, I'll give you a free T-shirt. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, David, thank you very much for coming on the show. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm glad that we got to do it this time instead of last week, because I wouldn't have had
got to see the record. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to see it.
I got to see it. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much for watching the show. RedCellReview.com. Please hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.
All right. Thank you very much.